Hello, everybody. Good evening. How are you? Welcome back for another Black History story time with me, Remy, from Remy O Digital. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And if you're watching on replay, which means you're not watching live, because most of you watch on replay, let's be honest, then go ahead and leave me a hashtag replay so that I know you've been here. And of course, if you are here live, say hello. I love to hear from you guys. Right, let's turn the that's the wrong ticker, Rem, isn't it? Oh, yes, let's get the right one on, Rem. So, tonight we are doing the story about England's first black queen. It's a bit of a contentious one, this one. I was going to do it last night, but I bottled it. Hey, Phil. How are you today, my darling? Yeah, I was going to do this story last night and then I bottled it because I was like, oh no, some people are going to get upset. And then I saw my friend today and she was like, do it! Do it tonight! So I was like, oh. So yeah, only because I know the royal family is very, very, very well loved and sought after, and there will be many people who will not like this story at all. Hello, my favourite stalker, Bettina. Thank you for joining me. I like when people are here; it makes it so much more fun. Thank you for being here. Um, So yeah, I know there are some people who, well, in fact, give me an emoji in the comments if you have heard about Queen Charlotte, the first Black Queen of England. Drop an emoji, any emoji. No, drop emoji if you haven't heard about England's first Black Queen. Let's do that, shall we? Give me an emoji if you have not. In fact, drop me a crown. Go to your phone, find a crown. Drop a crown. Drop a crown, drop a crown, drop a crown. Drop a crown. Let me know if you have not heard about Queen Charlotte. Because it's a really interesting story. But I know there are going to be some people like, no, not my queen. My queen from black people. No. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. So, Bettina says she can't wait to hear it now. Thank you very much. And Phil says he doesn't think he's heard of Queen Charlotte. So let me tell you the story, guys. It's a funny old story. It's a funny old story. But I did have a look. I've just realised, Bettina, thank you very much for dropping an emoji. But I don't think StreamYard likes emojis. So you're just a blank screen. But thank you for the effort. Much appreciated. Right, let's just get into it because I'm rambling. We're nearly 3 minutes in. Let's get this party started. Right, so Princess Sophie Charlotte was born in 1744. And she was the first Black Queen of England. What? And the last Queen of America. She reigned during the American Revolution and was our Queen before we became independent. Charlotte, North Carolina is also named after her. Now, Queen Charlotte, the actual first biracial member of royalty, yep, I said it, also happens to be Prince Harry's, our beautiful Prince Harry. She also happens to be Prince Harry's great, 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 great grandmother. That's right. She's Queen Victoria's grandmother. I said it, girl. I said it. I know so many people will be like, no, don't be stupid. Don't bloody stupid. Ren's not Queen Vic. Nah, she's white. So many of the portraits of Queen Charlotte, they portray her as having fair skin. And this was fashionable during that time. And she most likely was highly powdered. Remember, like when they put white powder on their face and really red lips? She was most likely highly powdered to appear more fashionable. 18th century skin lightening was lead based. They put lead on their face. And although this era was known as the Age of Enlightenment, most fashionable men and women poisoned themselves with red and white lead makeup and powder. Nah, babe, I'm just gonna stay ugly. I mean, look, I wore the red lipstick in honor of tonight's story. I mean, I deserve extra brownie points for that, right? But yeah, so they powdered their face with white makeup that was made from lead. Ooh. And red lipsticks also made from lead. Nasty. I wonder everyone like nobody lived over the age of 40. Um, According to Mario de Valdez y Cucum, completely balls that name up, but we're just gonna call him Mario, I think, because that's a lot of words. That's like a five-barreled name in Spanish. So he's gonna be Mario. I might call him Mazza. We'll see. But Mario, he said Charlotte had African ancestry, and this was via descent from Margarita de Castro e Souza, a 15th century Portuguese noblewoman who traced her ancestry to King Alfonso III of Portugal, who lived between 1210 to 1279, and one of his mistresses, Madrigana, and they've just got her around circa around the year 1230. They don't know when she died. She's just got a question mark. Sorry, Madrigana. We don't know much about you. But anyway, this is the lineage they're saying. This is where she's come from. So, in a 2009 episode of PBS TV series called Frontline, Mario Valdez, Valdezo, he speculated that Scottish painter Alan Ramsay emphasized the Queen's alleged mulatto appearance in his portraits of her to support the anti-slave trade movement, and noted that Baron Stockmar also described the Queen as having a mulatto face in his autobiography, and that there are other contemporary sources throughout history that have also made similar observations about Queen Charlotte having these mulatto appearances. Now, mulatto is like a Spanish, I think it's Spanish. Yeah, it's Spanish for having like mixed race heritage. So people are describing her as being of sort of half European and half African um, looking. So there's lots of historical notes, and even in the artwork and the paintings that were done during the time, often describing Queen Charlotte as being mulatto. I mean, technically my daughter's mulatto. You know, she's black for me and her dad's white. But any of you call my child mulatto, I might punch you in the face. I'm just saying. So the House of Windsor. Now this is where it gets juicy, guys. Pull up a chair, get a bit closer. So the House of Windsor, the Windsor that we know and love, has never denied Queen Charlotte's claimed African ancestry. I'm going to read that again. The House of Windsor has never denied Queen Charlotte's claimed African ancestry. Now, think about it. In fact, they've said very little about Queen Charlotte. In fact, they've almost completely whitewashed her out of history. Why might they do that? Let's let's collectively have a little stroke of our chins and think about it. Why might the Windsors and the royal family not mention Queen Charlotte? But also, they've not denied anything either, which I think is also telling. But you read between the lines and make of that what you will. So, David Buck, who is a Buckingham Palace spokesperson, or he may well have been, he may no longer be, but it says David Buck, a Buckingham Palace spokesperson, he was quoted in the Boston Globe as saying the following, and this is talking about Queen Charlotte's African ancestry, and this is coming straight from Buckingham Palace, their spokesperson. He said, this has been rumoured for years and years. It is a matter of history. And frankly, we've got far more important things to talk about. What? So a Buckingham Palace spokesman was like, yeah. That African thing, yeah. That's history. We don't need to talk about that. We got much more important things to talk about. We don't need to keep harping on about history. No. Let's just move along. Let's just I mean, I want to swear, but I know some of you have your kids watching this, so the word that springs to mind is uckery. You could put your own letter in front of that, but this is utter uckery. A Buckingham Palace spokesperson was like, "Yeah, all rumours. It's all rumours. This African stuff. Yeah, we've heard about it, but it's history. Let's not look back. Let's just look forward. Keep looking forward. We don't want to talk about that. No." And then you can have those EastEnders and those people in like Southeast London, in Eltham and in Kent, giving it how, "Ma Vicky, Ma Ma Queenie Victoria." Nah, get out of here. She's white as the snow in Austria. That one, Queen Vicky. Oh no, black African. Get out my face, Gov. That's what they'll all be getting like. No, what a load of old shit. I'm doing really good at not swearing. Anyway, let's continue. In fact, I'm just gonna have a drink because I'm getting up a sweat over here. Getting up a sweat. Let's get back to the story. So the namesake of Charlotte in North Carolina and Mecklenburg County. Now, Charlotte was the eighth child of the Prince of Midau in Germany, Charles Louis Frederick, and his wife Elizabeth Albertina of Saxe Hildburghausen. Hildburghausen. I'm sure Bettina will correct me if I've said that wrong. In in 1752, she was 8 years old, and Sophie Charlotte's her dad died. So, as Princess of Mecklenburg Strelitz, Sophie Charlotte was descended directly from an African branch of the Portuguese royal house Margarita de Castro e Souza. 6 different lines can be traced. So, 6 different lines can be traced from Princess Sophie Charlotte back to Margarita de Castro y Souza. And she then went, so this is Sophie Charlotte. She then on to marry George III of England on September the 8th, 1761, at the Chapel Royal in St James's Palace in London. And at the very young age of 17 years of age, Sophie Charlotte became the first Black Queen of England and Ireland at 17. Now, the conditions of her marriage she had a marriage contract, and in that the conditions were that the young princess, she was to join the Anglican Church, and she was to be married according to Anglican rites and never ever involve herself in politics. And although the Queen had an interest in what was happening in the world, especially the war in America, she fulfilled her marital agreement. And the royal couple went on to have 15 children. And 13 of those survived until adulthood. And this is another interesting line in this story. Their fourth, so Queen Charlotte, and her husband, King George. Was it George? I'm gonna say it was George. I've made that call. So Charlotte and George, King and Queen, out of their 15 kids, 13 survived, and their fourth eldest son was Edward Augustus, Duke of Kent, and he, their fourth child, later fathered Queen Victoria. So, lineage. That's all I'm going to say. Lineage. So Queen Charlotte made many contributions to Britain as it is today. And though the evidence is not obvious or well publicised, her African bloodline in the British royal family is not common knowledge. And portraits of the Queen have been basically reduced to fiction until 2 art historians suggested that the definite African features of the paintings derive from actual subjects, not the minds of the painters. So yeah, there were two art historians who were saying that the paintings of Queen Charlotte, they're authentic. They're not like reproduced later and somebody's interpretation of. They're saying that these paintings, these art paintings, from these art historians, are saying that these are definite African features that we see in these paintings of Queen Charlotte, who nobody wants to talk about. I wonder why. So, um, in Queen Charlotte's era, slavery was prevalent and the anti slavery campaign was growing, and portrait painters of the royal family were expected to play down or soften Queen Charlotte's African features. And painters such as Sir Thomas Lawrence, who painted Queen Charlotte in the autumn of 1789, had their paintings rejected by the royal couple who were not happy with the representation of the likeness of the Queen. These portraits are among those that are now available to view, which could be seen as continuing the political interest of those that disapprove of a multiracial royal family for Britain. Sir Alan Ramsay produced the most African representations of the Queen and was responsible for the majority of the paintings of the Queen. And Ramsay's inclination to paint truer versions of the Queen could be seen to have come from being an anti slavery intellectual of his day. Coronation painting by Ramsay of the Queen was sent out to the colonies, Commonwealth, and played a subtle political role in the anti slavery movement. Johann Zoffany also frequently painted the royal family in informal family scenes. There's some stuff about her son, King George IV. Um, let's get through that. And we go, here's a bit more about Queen Charlotte. It says Queen Charlotte was a learned character. Her letters indicate that she was well read and had interest in the fine arts. The Queen is known to have supported and been taught music by Johann Christian Bach, and she was extremely generous to Bach's wife after Bach's death. I will never know how to say Bach. I don't know if I'm ever saying it right or not. Anyway, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, at age 8, dedicated his Opus 3 piece to the Queen at her request. And also, she was an amateur botanist. And Queen Charlotte helped to establish Kew Gardens, bringing among others the Strelitzia reginae, which was a flowering plant from South Africa. And the queen who had the first one in her house in 1800s introduced the Christmas tree to England. So she introduced the Christmas tree to England in the 1800s. Wow. And it was said to be decorated with sweetmeats, almonds, raisins in paper, fruits, and toys. Also, um, the Queen Charlotte Maternity Hospital was established in London, and it was set up as a charitable institution, and it is the oldest maternity care institution in England. The 23rd of May, 1773, in a letter, the Queen felt she was in a position of privilege. Her Christian faith was a protection and a method of endurance. And as she quotes from the Bible and recognizes her role as a royal of God beyond her royal role on earth, an exhibition took place in 2004 at the Queen's Gallery, Buckingham Palace, displaying Charlotte and George's own collections and their taste in the arts. Queen Charlotte was the great 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 grandmother of the present Queen Elizabeth II, who still lives in the expanded Buckingham House, now known as Buckingham Palace. And Kew Gardens, it still flourishes and is always being expanded. And also, the Queen Charlotte Maternity Hospital and many other places still carry her name in honour globally, such as Charlotte, North Carolina, Canada, and Fort Charlotte, St. Vincent, West Indies. Queen Charlotte died on November the 17th, 1818, at Dutch House in Surrey, which is now Kew Palace, and she was in the presence of her eldest son, the Prince Regent. She is buried at St George's Chapel in Windsor, and the only private writings that have survived from her are Queen Charlotte's 444 letters to her closest confidant, which was her older brother, Charles II, Grand Duke of Mecklenburg Strelitz. So, to summarize, with features as conspicuously Negroid as they were reputed to be by her contemporaries, it is no wonder that the Black community, both in the US and throughout the British Commonwealth, have rallied around pictures of Queen Charlotte for generations. They have pointed out the physiological traits that so obviously identify the ethnic strain of the young woman who, at first glance, looks almost anomalous, portrayed as she usually is in the sumptuous splendor of her coronation robes. There we go. Story of Queen Charlotte, wife of English King George III, 1738 to 1820. There we go. Thanks, B. Now my drink. I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that too. Um, where are we? We are at the 29th. So we've got two more stories, guys. Two more stories tomorrow and Saturday to close up this Black History Month story time. I've really enjoyed doing this, but it's also been incredibly exhausting. Uh, but one mustn't grumble. Again, thank you so much for watching. This has been a long one tonight because there was lots of information in there about Queen Charlotte. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and be back tomorrow. We've got another exciting story for you tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you then. Have a good evening, and goodbye.